Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have another update for the 365 days of eyeshadow for you. This project was started by Jessica, who we all know, but of course she is linked down below, as well as everybody else that is also doing this project. The idea is that we wear all of our eyeshadows, or at least a lot of them. For me, I should be able to get through all of my eyeshadows in 365 days. For some of us that is not enough days, but the idea is you wear a different eyeshadow every day, or you can kind of pair things up and do 3 of them one day and do not do them the next day. You guys get the idea. So the shadows that I have been working on over the last month, I'm already in the middle of April, so I've already been working on some other ones, but I've been using the eyeshadows in the NYX Strike a Pose palette right here. This palette I like because there is a good variety of like neutrals and some colors in here. I do notice it's getting a bit older, so it's on the powdery side at the moment, but I still liked playing around with this one because, as you guys might know, this is something that I've been considering as my pen palette a couple of times. So it's good to get a bit of an idea of like how I actually like the shadows if I would consider to put them in another project again. This is the Creative Me No. 2 palette from Coastal Scents, and this palette has some really nice colors, some pretty big pans as well. I really like the shades, and there is like also here a nice variety, some more neutral shades right here, but also some color. What I did notice when trying to use this palette is there is no matte shades in here. They're all kind of the same shimmery type of shades. So it's pretty much impossible to create a nice look with all of these because they're all like, they have the same dimension kind of, and you want a bit more. There is no really dark shades in here. I feel like probably this one is the darkest shade that is there, but because it still reflects quite a bit of light, it wouldn't get as dark as I would like it to. So it's a nice palette, but not a palette I could kind of use on its own as easily, which is nice to know because I've never really tried to do looks with just that palette. And then also I was using some shades from the Vice palette. In here I mainly was using, these 2 rows right here, and these 2 shades I already used before, but the other 2 rows is what I have been working with as well. Of course I love this shade because the warmer shades are totally my thing. This shade is actually a really nice one as well. It's like, it has a really dark base, but there is a lot of like blue purplish shimmer in it that stands out really nicely against that darker base of it. So I really like this shade and this shade right here as well. So yeah, it's been fun playing around with this one because this is like nice quality eyeshadows that I'm working with right here. The other 2 are kind of like hit and miss, but out of here pretty much every eyeshadow works really nicely. So it's been fun playing around with those. So that is like my opinions about the shades and their quality and stuff. Let's take a look at some of the looks that I have been doing. And I'm gonna scooch to the side so you can get the pictures up here. So this first picture that you're seeing right here, as always I have virgin on my brow bone. I put the darker shade from my Bourjois trio in the crease. This crease, as I've been doing for quite a while, is as a transition shade. I used the purple shade from the NYX palette as kind of like a blend out type of shade. So this one right here, blue from the Lush palette, so my Panda palette on the lid with the silver on top. But I also used, I'm just going to show you guys as well, Beat Down, which is actually that shade that I said I really liked, in my outer corner to darken things up a little bit more. And then I have the white shade from Lush in the inner corner, and the black shade as an eyeliner, which I have most of the time, so I'm not going to call that out every single time. Then the next look is a slightly warmer toned one, virgin on the brow bone. This create is a transition shade again, but we have Bones from the Vice palette on kind of like more the inside of the lid. So Bones is this shade right here, which is kind of like a satiny, lighter shade, and Fastball on the middle, and that is the orangey shade right here. So this is a look that I kind of really like. It's neutral enough, but there is some warmth to it. It's really, really easy to wear. And then the black and the white are in the same places again. Then this one, another kind of like neutral look as well. Virgin and Discreet are in the same places again. And here I have the first shade from the Creative Me palette. And that would be this one if you turn it the other way around. I have that on the biggest part of my lid and in my crease. And then I put Half Baked from Urban Decay from the Naked palette on top of that. I put this yellow shade in my inner corner just to make it slightly different than just like your average white shade. And then the black I used in the outer corner and as an eyeliner. Then for this one right here, I'm using Virgin on the Brow Bone again, and this time I'm using Framed in my transition shader as my transition shade. So this one is Framed and this one is Discreet, so it kind of depends, like when it's more warmer and when it's more cool. And then I put the brown shade from the Creative Me palette, this shade right here, that is in my crease, and the blue shade from my Amuse palette, which is in my Happy Blue Year project, on the lids. And I almost forgot about this actually. I used the silver shade from the Jewels palette on top of that, because these two shades I kind of still had left from February, because I already had my days filled basically. So the silver one from here on top instead of my usual silver, and then Virgin in the inner corner, and my black shade as an eyeliner. So that's that look. I've been doing a lot of blue looks, but I'm working on multiple blue eyeshadows. So last year was my year of green eyeshadows, this year is my year of blue eyeshadows apparently. Then with this one we went a little bit more purple-ish. Virgin and Framed are in the same places again, but I used the purple shade from the Creative Me palette in my crease this time. And then the Amuse blue shade is on the lid again. And oh, actually I used the silvery grey, which is this one right here on the inner part of the lid, because it is kind of a lighter shade. I kind of have to see if that worked okay with the Amuse shade on the side, but I think it turned out okay. And then the black and Virgin in the other places again. Then we have a warmer look again, and here Virgin and Framed in the same places, but I put the warm brown from the Creative Me palette, which is this one, which actually also rolled into my pen as eyeshadows right now, in my crease, and I put the orange shade on the lid. So there is a color difference, but there is not as big of a color difference as I normally do for my lids. This is a light-ish shade for me to be putting it in my crease, but it's nice every now and then as well. I'm so used to using the darker shades just because I'm trying to work through them as well, that it's nice to kind of go a little bit lighter every now and then. Apart from that, black in the outer V, eyeliner, and Virgin in my inner corner. But then for this look we went a little bit more smoky again, so Virgin Framed in the same places, and then Underhand, which I said like this purpley shade right here, which I really liked as well, is in my crease right here. The blue shade from the Amuse palette is on my lids, and then black and Virgin again in the same places. And then we were nearing the end of the month and I still had a few shadows that I needed to get through, so I tried some different types of combinations that I normally maybe wouldn't go for per se, but this one, Virgin and Discreet on the lid once again. The blue shade from Coastal Scents is on my lids, and the green shade is in the outer corner. And I was hoping the green shade would turn out a little bit darker than it did, but like darkness wise there actually isn't a huge difference with these two, so it didn't have as much dimension again as I would like it to. I just like the outer corner to be a little bit darker, but yeah, I used the black in the outer V to darken it up a little bit more, and everything else is similar as we're used to. And then lastly, a similar idea here, Virgin and Discreet in similar places, but I used Grip in my crease, which is this shade right here. I might not normally put it there because it has some chunkier glitter in there, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And sometimes it's nice to try things in a slightly different way than you might be used to. Blue from the Lush palette is on the lids, and then I put the taupey shade from the Coastal Scents palette on top. So that would actually be this one, because I still needed to make sure to use that one. I forgot to use some of these shades at the start of the month, so towards the end I need to kind of like pile them up in my looks. And then I did use also the pink shade in the outer corner, but I feel like you don't even really see that anymore because it kind of blends in with everything else. Black on the outer V and the eyeliner again. And yeah, those were the main looks that I have been doing over the past months. Time for the shades that I'm gonna be working on and kind of already have been working on in April. Starting off with the rest of the shades in this Vice palette, of course. I already used half of them, so it makes sense to kind of just complete this palette in a way. We've got these two bottom rows, which one pretty green row, which I'm gonna have to go back to my green looks a little bit again. And then this row has like kind of more warmer shades. It has some mattes in it as well, which is gonna be nice for me to be able to use. So yeah, this row especially I'm looking forward to. This is just my greens, which I really learned to use those last year, so I'm sure that's gonna be fine. Let me quickly swatch them for you. So these are the shades that are there. So first we have the three green shades because Discreet was right next to it. Let me give you the names as well. This is Grasshopper, which is a nice bright green. We've got Sea Note, which is a little bit more muted, and this one actually looks really nice. This is Arctic, and it's kind of a bluish green. I'm looking forward to actually using this one on my lid. It's a different color than what I usually use. This one is called Robbery, and then we've got Bitter, which actually feels like really nice and buttery. It's not, the payoff is not as much with just one swatch as I expected it to, but still a really nice shade. This is Flame, which very nice warm color. You guys know I like my warm shades. And then these three in the swatches look somewhat similar. We've got Low, Crowbar, and at the bottom we have Delete. And Butter and Delete are the matte shades right here. Clearly Delete is showing up a little bit better than Butter is. But yeah, these are the shades and I like this palette. So those are the first ones. Then next I decided to pull in my Oh So Special palette. And oops. And from here I have not used any of these shades yet. So we're gonna do the whole palette, and this one is gonna be nice because it's a lot of like really neutral shades. So these are the shades right there, starting off with Organza right here, which is a kind of like warmer pink shade. Right next to that we have Ribbon, which is a like matte pink but like lighter pink shade. These three are like really nice and buttery, and like they just glide on and are really nice and pigmented. This is Gift Basket, Glitz, and Celebrate. Then we've got Pamper, which isn't showing up a whole lot. It's a lighter version of that pink right here in a way. We've got Gâteau, which is I guess the cool tone version of the pink up here. It's kind of similar as what they have in the original palette. We have the Mill, which is kind of a transition shade type thing as well. And then we have Boxed, which is a dark brown, Wrapped Up, which is a dark purple, and then Noir, which of course is a black. The Wrapped Up, the purple shade is very dry, so it didn't really have a lot of payoff. Like all these matte shades at the bottom here, especially the darker ones, are on the dry side. At least that's what they feel like when I'm swatching them right now. But I'm looking forward to using this palette because I haven't used it in a little while, and actually those shades are so nice and neutral that they will be pretty easy to incorporate in any of my looks. Then the next one is the Sleek Circus palette, and I want to use the 6 shades at the bottom here, and that brings me to my total for the month. So just quickly swatching those, and I'm doing it with my wrong, I might just do them here. So these are the Circus shades. I don't have any names for these, but we've got the red shades, we've got a purple, a pink, a white, which has a bit of yellow in it, which probably just is kind of something that I hopped over from this one, yellow, and another pink. So really nice bright colors, which is going to be nice to incorporate with those neutrals and like some of the ones up here as well. So yeah, this is what we're gonna be working with in April. I'm looking forward to it. There is a nice combination of different types of shades and formulas and those types of things. I had a bit too much glitter, not enough matte shades before, so here there is a bit more matte, especially the Circus shades. All except for this purple shade or matte shade. So yeah, that's what we're going to be working with. So I'll move to the middle actually. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope to see you in one of my next videos. Bye bye.